We begin tonight with a local student who represented Guam at the National STEM Festival in Washington, D.C. over the weekend. That event aims to highlight students' work in science, technology, engineering, and math from all across the country. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp met up with that JFK High School junior and found out about the research that he's doing on Guam's coral reefs.
Let's be on site. When I first started doing the study, actually, fun fact was that I wasn't really too good in the water. So it was really a learning process. Science was a learning process.
Andrew Kang, a junior at John F. Kennedy High School, walks us through his project at the National STEM Festival.
So if you see here, you can see that in some areas it lights up like fireworks. And this is where fresh water is coming out of.
His project focuses on groundwater discharge in Tumon Bay.
Just in this bay alone, there's over 200 coral species. And I think in the entire Hawaiian archipelago, like the entire state of Hawaii, I think there's like 80 coral species. And so there's such a humongous amount of biodiversity here on island. And I really wanted to see what was happening in here that was able to make it so biodiverse and see what helped it thrive so much. In Guam, we have this bay called Tumon Bay, and it's the mecca of tourism here on island. And on island, there's a lot of anthropogenic factors in the bay, and there's a lot of earth processes. And one I focus on is groundwater discharge. So when rain falls, fresh water accumulates in the aquifers of Guam, and there's something called the Northern Guam Lens Aquifer. And when low tide comes and the water recedes, fresh water comes out into shore. And in my project, I investigate the role of that fresh water coming into the bay to see if there's any effect on the corals or any marine life there.
For nearly 2 years, Kang would wake up at 4 a.m., head to the bay, and conduct his research. After all that time, Kang's research showed there's a huge impact of freshwater on coral reefs.
It's really cool. Going out into sea, you'll see over a span of years, some corals die and some corals won't. And in an area like Guam, where we're really prone to typhoons and major weather systems, it's really hard to see a lot of resilient reefs. But in just some of the places I snorkeled and growing up, you would see some reefs really stay vibrant and thrive over years. And doing transects, which gauge how much coral is on the ground and benthic cover, I was able to see that there really was an impact, that where freshwater came out, coral life was a lot more resilient and a lot more prevalent.
Kang is the only student from Guam at the STEM Festival in Washington. The festival aims to highlight creative solutions to global challenges from students across the U.S., like electricity issues to medical problems, even projects that include worms and dog feces. There's no shortage of solutions. For Kang, he says it's an honor to represent the island at the event.
Growing up in Guam and snorkeling and knowing the importance of where I'm from and seeing all the natural life that's there and the wealth of culture that's there, I'm really glad to be able to represent on such a high stage at DC and even other competitions at an international level in STEM. So I'm very glad.
In Washington, Rachel Knapp, Guam News Now.
He says he will next study how freshwater impacts inorganic matter in Tumon Bay.